Should we run? Hey guys, welcome to Trail and Kale. I'm Helen, and in this review I'm taking a look at the New Balance Fresh Foam X 880 version 14. That's these guys here. In this review, I'm going to be covering the key features of these running shoes, what kind of runner and what kind of running they're best suited to, how they performed in my testing of these shoes when I've been taking them out for various runs and also walks and everyday outings as well, and ultimately whether they're worth the $140 price tag. Now, the New Balance Fresh Foam X 880 version 14, or I'm just going to call it the New Balance 880, it's version 14. This shoe is designed to be a daily trainer. Now, what does that mean? Well, a daily trainer is basically a running shoe that you can wear for every day, so as the name describes. So that could be for just your daily runs, but also you might just be looking for a trainer you can wear every day for walking, going shopping, maybe for work. Maybe you want a gym shoe that you can use for cardio and some light workouts rather than the weight, heavy lifting side of training that you can also run in as well. So maybe you're doing some cardio intervals on the treadmill or laps running and then going back to do some HIIT or something like that. You want a trainer that's versatile, that's not necessarily just a running shoe, then this could be the shoe for you. First off, before we go over how they performed on the run, let's go over the key features of these running shoes. So as I mentioned, they cost $140, and these are what we describe as neutral running shoes, so no stability features, no additional posts or support on the sides for people who may pronate or supinate, turn your foot in or out as you run. These are very neutral running shoes. They've got medium cushioning, so they're not up there with the super plush running shoes that you may have seen. So for example, the very popular New Balance running shoe, the 1080, which is on version 13, and Alistair reviewed fairly recently on our YouTube channel as well. That is a maximal cushion running shoe. That's a super plush, squishy shoe with loads of cushioning in the midsole here. This is a medium cushioning shoe, and it has significantly less of that cushioning. Now this shoe weighs 7.4 ounces for my size, which is a US woman's 7.5. That is a bit heavier than other New Balance running shoes that I've reviewed recently, such as the Rebel version 4, which I'll come on to in a bit because I think it's important to compare this shoe and the Rebel. If you're looking at both of those, you're checking out New Balance thinking you need a pair of New Balance running shoes. But it is lighter than other medium cushion running shoes that I've reviewed recently as well. So it's pretty lightweight, but not ultra light. And you wouldn't expect that for a shoe that isn't designed to be like an ultra light performance shoe. This is a sort of very much a middle of the road. It's like medium everything. So if you don't want anything really funky, you don't want anything like super high-end carbon plate, ultra breathable, ultra light, and also you don't want to go the other end of the spectrum and go for like ultra cushion, maximal or extra support features, then this shoe is designed for you. It has an 8mm drop from heel to toe, and it's available in 4 different widths, which is great if you have narrow feet or very wide feet, because it comes in the regular as well as a narrow and then a wide and an extra wide. Now, notes on sizing. New Balance says that this shoe fits true to size, but I would beg to differ on that. So I've reviewed a lot of running shoes. Generally, I'm always wearing my size, which is the US women's 7.5, and I'm only sizing up or sizing down if a shoe is really not running true to size. This one, however, I would say is on the fairly snug end of your regular size. So I do have enough room in the toe of the shoe, but I have significantly less room than I do in other shoes that I enjoy running in, such as the Hoka Clifton 9, which is significantly longer in the same size. In terms of width, I was very surprised at the width of this shoe. I have very regular width feet, and again, I wear regular width shoes all the time in a variety of brands and different types of shoes, but it was pretty snug in the width as well. So I think if I was to get this shoe again, then I would definitely be looking at getting the wide version, or maybe just sizing up half a size to give myself a little bit of extra length as well as a little bit of extra width as well. That did surprise me because I already mentioned I've got the Rebel, New Balance Rebel version 4, which is another running shoe that they make in the same size, women's 7.5, same price point, very different running shoe. And I've got a lot of room in the toe. So even though they look similar in terms of length, and it's going to be challenging to see on camera, but pretty similar in terms of width as well. I don't have any issues on sizing with the Rebel, but my tip for the 880 is if you're looking at the shoe, consider going wider or just half a size up. Okay, so now on to performance of this shoe, the New Balance 880. How did it perform on the run? Well, I've taken it out for a variety of different length runs in and around where we're based here at Trail & Kale HQ in Northern California. So in warmer weather, in cooler morning weather, and I've also been walking in it and wearing it to, you know, walk the dog and do day-to-day things like that. Now, as a running shoe and as a pure running shoe, I wasn't overly impressed with it. And the reason for that is really the responsiveness as you push off the ground. I just felt it was really flat. So it doesn't have that anything like a speed board or any sort of rocker that's designed to help propel you forward to give you that sort of energy as you run forward. And it doesn't have a load of that nice cushy squish that you might want when you're running longer distances, or you just value that extra support when you're running on roads and pavements. Perhaps you need more support for your joints, or you just enjoy the feeling of it. It doesn't have either of those things. And what was really interesting to me is I took them out on a run where I did part of the run in these shoes, and then I quickly switched into the New Balance Rebel. And then I looked at the data from my Garmin watch afterwards in terms of my vertical speed and my cadence and my stride length, and you could absolutely tell the difference in all of those elements. I'll overlay an example here. Between the first kilometre of this run where I ran in the 880 and then the rest of the run, 5k run, when I ran in these shoes. So I was a lot faster and I'd had longer stride length. I spent more time off the ground rather than more time like landing on the ground and then taking off. It was really quite telling. So if you're looking for a shoe purely for running in, and you really enjoy running fast, you don't just want to go for regular jogs, then I definitely suggest you check out a more performance-oriented shoe such as this one, or a similar competitor shoe where I've had a more responsive experience, such as the A6 Cumulus 26 that I've reviewed recently. Again, very similar to this 880 medium cushion neutral running shoe, but I got more enjoyable performance when I was running in it. So after that performance review on the running, I've really come to the conclusion this shoe, like I mentioned at the beginning, it is really an all-round trainer, and it's not necessarily a shoe that you want if you're just focused on running, and particularly if you're focused on running either longer distances or you really want to train to run faster. I think there's better shoes out there for you. But that being said, this is a great all-rounder. I know a lot of people love to wear these shoes for work. It's a very popular shoe from New Balance because not everyone wants something really fancy. They want something that's reliable and will do the job. So other features that kind of lend itself to that are the outsole. So the black areas you can see are rubber, they're textured, there's more on the toe area. You only have a little bit around the heel, so that's worth noting because these white sections of foam. Closer look at that for you there. So you've got a good amount of rubber compound on the sole while it's still keeping the shoe lightweight, because that rubber tends to weigh quite a lot, which is why running shoes tend to only put it where they think you're going to need it. These are going to be great for walking in a variety of conditions. You can see it's quite thick rubber as well. Hopefully you can see that on there. So it should last a pretty decent amount of time, depending on how heavy you are on your footfall, like how much you shuffle and things like that. That will affect the ultimate longevity of these outsoles. The other thing that's worth calling out here is just a quick look at the upper as well. So you can see we've got perforated breathable mesh up here. So it does have an element of breathability. It's quite protective as well. This outsole wrapping over the toe does protect your toe, which is a pretty nice feature that you don't often get on all running shoes that are on the road. It's more of a trail running shoe thing, so that's nice that we have some protection on the toe here. This isn't the most breathable shoe, particularly if you are wearing your regular size. I think if I was to size up, I would have more breathability just because there's more scope for my toes to move around and get a bit more airflow around the shoe. But as it is in my regular size, it's pretty snug in there, even with fairly thin running socks. So definitely something to consider if you're somewhere hot, particularly somewhere humid, like Florida, for example, or just simply hot like we are here in Northern California for running. And particularly if I'm running in the heat of the day, I'm definitely going to prefer something like this, where you've got the very thin mesh where air just traverses straight through. On the flip side, if it's somewhere cold or there's like cold wind, then this one's going to keep your foot a lot warmer. This one's going to make your foot pretty cold and you might get numb toes. Okay, so wrapping up my review of the New Balance Fresh Foam X 880 version 14. Great daily trainer if you're looking for something all round that doesn't do anything too fancy, doesn't do anything too weird. Great that it comes in 4 widths. Really good price point. So to answer the question, are they worth the money? For $140, I would say they're worth the money if you're looking for something that does that all-round daily trainer. If you're looking for a running shoe and shoe that basically you're just going to run in, you're not going to use for other things, then there are better shoes out there for that price point. And I'll put a link in the description below to where you can check out more information on other shoes we've reviewed on Trail and Kale that are a similar price point, but probably better value in our opinion for runners. I hope you found this review helpful. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more running shoe reviews just like this one, and share it with a friend if you think they'll enjoy it too. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.